And now, on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Film Fracas. This is Season 3, Episode 2.
Ooh.
Yep.
The second episode.
The second episode
Fracas
of the season.
Strikes back.
Here we go. I am, of course...
the Attack of the Fracas?
You know what?
Today's Fracas is going to be all about that conversation. We're not going to have anything to... Oh, we're not? I, of course...
Today's Fracas is actually going to be about books. What's everyone been reading lately?
No,
Are we actually
Robbie, don't respond to that. Don't encourage it.
I've been reading a wonderful biography lately, actually.
What did I just say?
I've also been reading a wonderful biography.
Well, we've been reading very different biographies.
This is episode 2 of Film Fracas.
I am Robbie DeChaser. Of course, with me, as always, are Brett the Rock Johnson.
Happy to be here.
And Carter, the whole main man Spilliards.
Hello. How are y'all?
See, usually there'd be another person that could split the whole effing show and the main man, too.
You don't have to split it. You can just give him one or the other.
Nope.
Anyway.
They're combined when there's only one person.
Anyway.
We had an exciting episode last week. Kill Bill
did.
lost Best Fight. Something I'm still perplexed by, but we had our reasons.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
If you're coming into this episode and you're confused as to why that happened, go listen to the other episode. This is season 3, episode 2. What are you doing here?
The further away I get from the decision, the more I'm like, I feel like that was right.
It's fine.
I'm okay with
It's
it.
fine.
In the moment, I was like, is this? I'm pretty sure.
And then thinking about it.
As I slept on it, I'm now like,
Yeah, it's fine.
I stick to it 100%.
It's fine. Yeah. All right. So
yeah. Carter, what movies do we have left then?
All
with
right.
Kill Bill being
remaining. Our final 5 films already in episode 2
Oh, so hard.
are L.A. Confidential, Jurassic Park, Akira, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Bull Durham.
All right.
So all still very solid films.
Very, very.
All quite interesting. There's definitely a lot of discussion to be had still with all of them because we picked a rather
eclectic
thing to talk about. This one should be a lot more fun and discussion. What are we talking about this week, Brett?
We are talking about best world building. So that's going to be each of these movies has its main story, but then there's also like all these like side stories and like other backstories that they mention that they never like go into detail. You don't really get to see, and so we're going to be talking about a lot of those and talking about like what would be really cool if we got to see and like what these side stories like are and could be, and like where these worlds like could go and what else.
And to be clear,
these are all very clear and distinct worlds.
Oh yes, they are all very.
To be clear, we are not knocking these films for not explaining these things or showing these things.
No.
We are praising the world that the screenwriter.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about like they mentioned this, so like it would be really cool to see like a movie or spin-off series about like this.
Yeah. So a lot of great. Cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very subjective, collaborative episode.
But it gives us a chance to gush about some amazing movies.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm feeling really happy about it. So this should be a lot of fun for us at least. Not sure about you poor listeners at home.
But hey, if you love these movies half as much as we do, I think you're going to have a good time.
Just before we start the discussion,
yes,
I wanted to give a shout out to one of our followers on Twitter, at Wendy with a W. She tweeted the other day, so I'm boycotting Film Fracas because they didn't nominate Rush Hour. # Film Fracas, more like Film Fracshite. And I just wanted to say to you, Wendy with a W, you never know what could happen next season. Rush Hour is always a possibility. You never know. These movies could pop up from anywhere.
It was a movie that was made. It's
eligible.
I don't know if it's eligible for season 4. We might be doing another theme.
Keep listening.
That's
Keep listening.
news to me.
Our, we're gonna wade ourselves through this Fracshite, and I'm quite excited. Let's get into it.
We are knee deep in Fracshite.
Yeah.
All right. Where to start?
Do we just want to go alphabetical today? I'm feeling alphabetical.
So that
Akira?
would be Akira. Oh boy.
This one has nothing to do. They finished the entire story, and there's nowhere to go.
Oh.
I want a spin-off show that's all in the new universe, but like has nothing to do with Akira.
Actually,
it's just every other show.
You know what I want from Akira?
What?
I want what everyone thinks it is, which is a prequel series or movie that's all about street racing and like motorcycle gangs in Neo Tokyo. So like
Fast and the Akira.
Yeah, Fast and the Akira.
Neo Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
Neo Tokyo.
Neo Tokyo.
But no, like that's
Same
like,
soundtrack, everything. Just
I want that.
But I mean, like, yeah, that would be awesome. Seeing like the capsules like come up, seeing like the clowns come up, and seeing like the clash between them, and like what other like biker gangs were around that like the capsules and clowns managed to just totally.
And you don't even necessarily
destroy.
have to do like Kaneda. You could do.
Yeah.
You could literally. It could like the film could end with like Kaneda getting his bike, or you see like how that kind of thing happened.
Yeah, and like the life at the orphanage, because you get like the flashback of Kaneda standing up for Tetsuo, but like seeing like more of that and how like Kaneda and his group like band together and like we're gonna be the best.
Because like who's Kaneda's mentor? Who taught him how to ride the bike? Who taught him?
Or did he teach himself? Did he just like become the best?
Yeah.
Just like like I would have like just that for one. Like Robbie said, like the new universe at the end, like. What happened now? Like, what happened to Tetsuo, the man babies with the telepathic powers, and Akira himself? Like, what happened there? Like, what's going to happen to the military? What happened with Akira before? And just, there's, like, so much that could happen and go on. Like, the telepathic, I forget what they're called. They have a name.
Yeah. I
But,
don't
like,
remember.
how are they found? How did they get their powers? What's been happening to them this whole time? Why are they scared of blood? And why do their giant monster stuffed animals bleed milk? That's actually the biggest pressing question I had after the first time I watched that movie. I'm like, why is this teddy bear bleeding milk?
I don't actually remember that, so I will have to watch it again.
what I want. So
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that specific detail.
When Tetsuo was in the hospital room and like the stuffed animals come to life and they were like about to start beating him up, and then they get huge and giant and monstrous, and you got the weird soundtrack where it's just like
I remember the hospital. I just don't. I guess I just don't remember that particular detail of them bleeding milk.
Yeah, they bleed milk, or at least some kind of white fluid, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's.
I want. Do you remember there was that proposed John Wick television series about the Continental Hotel? I want that with the biker gangs of Neo Tokyo, and that bar from the beginning. Just that hangout, like
that bar at the beginning, and like what
they treat as a hangout, but it seems
and then when Tetsuo goes there and like kills like the bartender, and Kaneda's like, what the hell, and everyone's very upset that this bartender was killed. I'm like, like that'd be cool seeing like this guy
that or a Happy Day style thing where that's just like the restaurant.
Yeah. Or even
that's the catchphrase is like Tetsuo comes and everyone's like Tetsuo, and Kaneda comes in Kaneda,
and then
laugh track and
totally subverted.
applause track and everything.
and then Norm from Cheers walks in.
Norm.
Da,
Rhea Perlman's still there.
Yeah.
With the Happy Days, but with the Akira soundtrack. Just could you
real
imagine?
dark.
Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday.
I love it. I want this. I gotta have it.
So many things, but
like serious and like goofy.
all jokes aside,
be done.
because you could do, we talked about that, even talking about just the bar, you could take that in so many different directions.
Yeah.
Well, and what I love is that, like, this one especially, any kind of, like, vaporwave, like Blade Runner or anything like that, it kind of naturally lends itself to an expanded world. Yeah. You're like, how did the world get to this point? What else is going on?
Yeah.
And so I think Akira
You could even
definitely...
get some, if you go way back in the story, some of that stuff during World War III that's started by...
Yeah.
I'm always like, why is every post-apocalypse or
future
far future way always have a World War III? It's like I remember
just so pessimistic.
Yeah, I remember in Star Trek they had like a World War III was in the early 2000s. Like right now is when they had their World War III.
A
couple of years before, I think, actually.
Would be in our post-war depression.
Because it was like they had the eugenics war, which was where Khan was from, and that was in the 90s.
God,
we called that the Gulf War.
It's like I watched Event Horizon last night, and like it opens up with like all the exposition title cards, and it's like 2008 or like 2015. We managed to like get like manned space travel to like Neptune and everything. And I was like, guys, we did it. Like 3 years ago, we managed to get people to Neptune. There's something like that. And like Reign of Fire, like the post-apocalypse is like 2020 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, guys, we only got 2 years.
Got 2 years.
Someone find Christian Bale and stop him from working in that coal mine or whatever.
Yeah.
Acura is supposed to happen in a year, right?
Yeah, it's 2019.
So
So
that's something
we
to
got a
look
bit of a way.
forward
It's like my
to.
futuristic bike.
I guess we got to take matters into our own hands.
A lot's
and,
gonna happen in the next
we
couple
gotta-
months.
Got to go make Acura.
The thing I do love is that, like, this is a bit of a tangent, but
It's fine.
it's like, you look at something like in Tron, like the light cycles, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so futuristic. Why don't we have that yet? And then someone builds a light cycle. Like,
Yeah.
all the stuff that's in, a lot of the stuff that's in these movies is just an aesthetic. Like, it's a futuristic aesthetic. Like,
Yeah.
we can totally build the things that are in some of these movies.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
we
like
could-
We just don't have a
just
cultural
don't.
aesthetic of that.
like somebody out there like did like make the Coneda bike, and they sell like the jacket with the
Yeah.
capsule and everything. So he got that. And he's like, well, I did this. I'm like, oh, that's like, you seem really sad, but that's really cool.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm looking.
All right.
Yeah, like,
I just have it right.
and then like in
We may tweet that out just so people can see it.
And then in Ready Player One, during the whole race at the beginning, like Artemis was
riding
driving the
Acura
bike.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, I did appreciate the Acura bike being in Ready Player One.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
they did it. Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to say about the world of Acura?
There's a lot to work with, and all of it sounds like it could be really cool to go into.
And what's great is the medium that it's in of an anime. There's so much is possible.
Oh
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
This isn't something where a movie made in 1988 that we're doing a reboot or a continuation of now, where it's like, oh, we got to find someone who looks like Kevin Costner in the 80s. Like it's which is Kevin Costner still,
Yes.
but
yeah.
but there's nothing like that. There's the recent dub was only done in 2001, so I'm sure a lot of those voice actors would still be willing to do any of these suggestions.
Probably.
Hit us up, Funimation.
I mean, that movie's still getting more fans. I mean, I hadn't seen it and watched it for this, and now I'm a fan, and I'll probably recommend it to more people.
Yeah.
Excellent. My master plan to somehow get everyone in the world to watch Akira. Slowly but surely coming to fruition.
You're saying this like it's maniacal. I feel like it's a pretty worthy
that's,
goal.
That's the joke.
I love it.
It's like, Brett, it's a good movie. People should watch it. Yes. It's all coming together. But yeah. Okay, so that's Akira. We're going
Bull Durham.
Bulkira?
Bulk. Kevin Costner on a
Durkira?
red
Kevin
motorcycle.
Costner running through the streets of Neo Tokyo on a Harley.
Yep.
He pulls up in front of a bar. Da! Da!
I believe in the cock.
Susan Sontag's overrated. He drives off.
Drives.
But seriously, though.
Anywho, I think there's definitely some places to go with this movie. You've got
With any character-driven piece, you can get anyone's backstory.
There's the three major character backstories you can get.
I would say you could definitely get the most interesting for me would be the prequel of Crash's 21 Days in the Majors.
God, I feel like that would be so
just
sad.
a movie just called 21 Days.
Yeah, or something like that.
Or just like The Show. Or Meat.
Or just call it Crash.
I'd like to see it called Meat.
Meat.
Just Meat.
I don't know. I feel like Susan Sarandon's character was pretty well explained. I don't necessarily would want to see.
No, I wouldn't want to see a
her.
movie. What would be interesting would be like an Eat, Pray, Love style book about her search for like spirituality and finding the church of baseball. I know that might not be your thing.
I kind of feel like that's what Bull Durham is. Like it explains kind of her relationship with baseball.
You get some of it. I think. That you couldn't get a film's worth of.
I would just say
maybe
her story is perhaps the one I'm least interested in seeing, because I'd very much like to see a whole lot more with Crash, because Crash definitely shows up as the mysterious outsider.
Yeah,
and then Newt going forward, I think would be a fun, almost like a farcical, like Veep, but a pro a pro baseball player.
Yeah, something.
Major League,
Major
the
League.
TV show.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Maybe not that.
I think that would be fantastic.
I would like to see it, like him like trying like him being like Nuke and like all the other major leaguers not taking him seriously, but him just being like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm Nuke."
Like
Yeah.
he's
I
like
got
excellent.
the heat, and everyone's like,
He's like excellent in breaking all the records and stuff.
Season 1.
But he's a fucking idiot.
Okay, season 1 of the show, right? The Nuke show, season 1, ends with Nuke goes to his locker and opens it up, and fungus is growing on his shower shoes, and he finally gets to be called colorful. Because if he wins 20 in the show, you can have fungus on your shower shoes. Press will call you colorful. Till then, you're a slob.
I feel like that would be better as like the season finale or the
Yeah, it's exactly
series finale.
Series finale?
Yeah, I feel like the series finale after like the ups and downs, but then like he finally makes it. And at the very end, just like that's the closing shot. He just looks at his shower shoes and just nods at
fungus
them.
on.
That'll do, shoes. That'll do. Then he leaves.
Or like we saw today, it's like he just looks at the shoes and then it cuts to a news story at the very like this is the last thing is a news story and it's just like. It's like, colorful Major League Baseball player Duke LaLoosh announced his retirement today.
Just to crash reading the paper.
I need
son of a bitch.
I just need a family, just a family sitcom with Millie and Jimmy. Just once they get married.
Maybe not so much.
And it'd be an odd couple situation.
I feel like that would go the way of like the Mulaney TV show.
It could.
Where it would last for like 7 episodes and then get canned.
One that I would be curious about.
I don't know. Stuff like Mork and Mindy lasts, and that's a one-off.
Things that I would be curious. Something I would be curious about that would involve Susan Sarandon would be like if they did, because Bull Durham's very much about. This would be more like a direct sequel, but Bull Durham's very much about like Crash seeing his own counterpart in Nuke and like having to come to terms with he has the brains but Nuke has the talent. Mm-hmm. And I think another interesting relationship, because that's a parallel relationship, is like, oh, he's me. And I think another interesting relationship would be like if it was Crash's son and it's like he's been with Susan Sarandon, now he has the son, and the son doesn't necessarily have to be into baseball. The son could be into football or something else. And it's very much like you have
angels in the
you have the
angels in the end zone situation here.
But it's like it's more of a it'd be like him putting the pressures on his son to succeed because he never quite got there like he wanted to, and so that would be like a different relationship that you'd see from him, and that would just be a more continuation of that character.
That'd be fun.
And his arc. That one would definitely be more of a drama.
Yeah. Or what about like a
movie Brad's Status is this?
like with Susan Sarandon's character, like Two Broke Girls or like Sex in the City style, like her and Millie like when they're like doing all the guys and like doing like setting up their whole like they interact with the guys and like the guys like dealing with it and them dealing with it and everything. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like that could be like a fun like mini series or something. But yeah, I think Susan Sarandon probably has like. Maybe not the most interesting backstory stuff to.
She doesn't have a ton of interesting backstory, but I think
that is true.
Watching her do her thing that she does during the movie for more and just getting more time with that and maybe more characterization for Millie, I feel like that's worth a watch.
Yeah. Or even seeing how she handles motherhood would be an interesting
Bull Durham
thing.
Spring Training. It's just a 30-minute direct-to-TV short all about that.
But no, yeah, I definitely want to see the 21 Days in the Show, just that instant rise and instant fall, because I feel like that'd probably make me cry or something. Just poor Kevin Costner.
I mean, truly, when you think about it, he probably just did not ever do well in the show.
I mean, that's what would make it so heartbreaking, because this is what he wants more than anything. Because the whole movie, he's constantly just pining and dreaming of going back there. And so, like, if we were to see him like finally make it be all happy, then just totally like money, like Brad Pitt from Moneyball, just totally crash and burn and get kicked out for one reason or another, that'd be tragic.
Yeah.
I would be.
There's an HBO show for you.
Would you rather see them de-age Kevin Costner, because that technology is getting pretty impressive, or did you see the new Ant-Man? Michael Douglas.
Yes, I saw the new Ant-Man.
Michael Douglas is eerie in that.
Yes.
Very much. See, I don't think they aged him down. I think that's just Michael Douglas.
Like, he definitely looked
I mean, did you see Rogue One?
eerie. That's,
I mean,
the
Did you
technology.
see Tron
Rogue One
Legacy?
is not that
technology
bad, really.
from that's what I'm saying.
Have you watched Rogue One recently?
Yes,
What I'm saying
Tarkin
is-
really does not look that bad.
No, he looks like a shambling corpse.
He does not.
He really doesn't look that bad.
Carter and I have talked about this many times.
What I'm
Well,
saying,
you haven't talked about it
but
with me.
what I'm saying is that look at Rogue One and then look at Ant-Man. That's the same technology. Look at how much better it is now.
Okay.
It's like look
But
at
honestly,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
but
Look at Michael Douglas.
I still wouldn't be opposed to like current Kevin Costner playing younger. Kevin
I was just
Costner.
spitballing, or getting a younger
Yeah.
person to play Kevin.
My-
Kevin Costner.
No, we're getting Kevin Costner to play
Old Kevin Costner.
This argument
Oh,
about
come on,
Rogue
you-
One
you
is
would-
for
you wouldn't
off
want
mic,
that?
I mean, I would
so-
still watch it. Just put him in a wig.
No, like don't mess with him. Don't touch him up. Just let him just come in there, put him in a shirt that's 3 sizes too small for him or whatever. Have him play baseball.
Just put him in that same leather jacket.
Yeah. Then he can ride through the streets of Neo Tokyo.
Oh. All right, let's move on.
So
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park is on next.
Next.
It's quite
So-
a jump with ABJ.
So here's
ABJ.
we're gonna preface this by saying that because this film already has 4 sequels, we're going to disregard them. Disregard all of the sequels, and it's from just the first Jurassic Park movie. What would we like to see? Because there are definitely things that I would have liked to have seen that they never did.
Yeah, and that's
And
exactly.
I
what,
think
that's,
this one
that's
is
what this episode is
definitely sets up a rich and interesting potential for a lot of stuff.
for. Yeah.
I would like. So I'm going to start off. The thing that I've always wanted to see with this is like. We were talking about post-apocalyptic, but what I've always really wanted to see was like literally a post-apocalyptic. So it's like the dinosaurs bred, and they kept breeding on the island and slowly dispersing, and it got to the point where they kind of overran because everyone else wasn't quite sure how to fight them, and eventually we're in the future now, in the distant future, and it's like Mad Max but with dinosaurs. Like, can you imagine like war rigs going across the
Is there still a
wasteland?
guy playing a guitar on top
then
of the
there's,
dinosaur
like-
with fire?
Then there's like, I mean,
Answer that question.
yes.
But how,
Then yes, I'm watching it.
But then they're also fighting T-Rexes.
Ooh.
But how do all these dinosaurs get off the
Like-
island to make this Mad Max dystopia?
They adapt. I mean,
I don't-
at any
Life
point finds a way.
way.
At any point, people could have started taking them off the island. People could have started breeding more dinosaurs elsewhere. Like, the fact that this technology exists means that other people could start doing it too.
And
I mean, that's the thing. Isn't Dodgson trying to like?
Yeah, he's
figure-
trying to take.
yeah,
he's trying to take the samples.
Yeah, for like, because Jurassic Park was that InGen?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because there was like GenCo, or at least from the book there was GenCo. But yeah, like, I don't necessarily want to see like the dystopia Mad Max thing, because honestly I feel like that wouldn't be able to happen. But I want to see
You
like.
don't have to worry about how it gets there. Just like if it's there, would you want to see it?
But what I want to see is like I'd like to see like the GenCo, like this other company that's trying to like
do like corporate espionage kind of
yeah,
thing?
like the corporate espionage kind of thing, like they're like how they find out this is going on, and like what happens after this like fumbles, and like or if like somebody like, or if they're kind of like, well, like they did it, let's try to do it, and they kind of like hack it together and make like a Frankenstein kind of thing. Or I'd also like to see like a Richard Attenborough documentary of Jurassic Park, like after like the dinosaurs have all run free. It's just like the documentary, like over here we see the Velociraptor.
So David
Attenborough.
Attenborough, my bad.
But David Attenborough talking about Richard Attenborough's project.
Yeah.
That would be.
But then like how like the dinosaurs like form their ecosystem and how it all like shakes out. I'd like, even if it wasn't like a nature documentary, I'd still like to see that, just no dialogue, only dinosaurs, seeing how that's going on. And also like we haven't talked about, but like how Richard Attenborough
plays Hammond.
Yes, Richard Attenborough. I'm sorry, I get them confused.
His brother David does nature documentaries.
Yes, that's, you guys know what I mean. But I would like to see how Richard Attenborough came to this point, how he discovered this process was possible, how he like found these people, managed to get investors and be like, hey, Henry Wu, make some dinosaurs for me. Like, what? Like, I'd like to see how Jurassic Park was made
Yeah.
and like the immediate aftermath, not so much as the far gone Mad Max, Turek the dinosaur,
I mean,
Cadillacs.
Well,
and
here's the thing I
whatever.
have about why I don't think we should consider a Mad Max style apocalypse. Because I think Brett's right. We don't know how it would get there.
well, it doesn't matter how it gets there.
but
It's
that's just-
once it's there, would you want to watch it?
But the thing is, that's just putting dinosaurs in a situation. Like, we're not talking about dinosaurs. We're talking about Jurassic Park. So I feel like
This
it
is
has
like
to.
hundreds of years after.
I feel like it just has to feasibly work out. Like, no,
Yeah, I think we're trying to stick with things that are more like tangible and
But-
readily there in the movie to build off of.
if we
rather
want to
than
go
being, like,
extreme but still tangible, Tim and Lex Murphy, dinosaur hunters.
Lex Murphy, hacker extraordinaire. She becomes a black hat hacker.
But no, I want to see them like with
That'd
a
be cool. Them grown up,
like tracking down dinosaurs,
tracking down dinos,
having to kill the bad ones.
saving the plant eaters, killing the meat eaters.
Exactly. Like,
Why is this what they do? Wouldn't this be more like Dr. Grant's job?
I don't know.
no, well, I'm just saying this is 15 years in the future.
We could also see the dramatic and heartbreaking romantic drama about Dr. Grant and Dr. Sadler.
No, they're
And
fine.
Their relationship, either
No, they stay together till the end
staying together or falling apart horrendously.
of time. I don't see why it would fall apart. I don't see any reason why it would fall apart.
Dramatic.
I just want to see a Beautiful
Character
Mind
piece.
style movie about Dr. Ian Malcolm as a mathematician at the University of Texas at Austin.
That's true. He is.
So,
That is cool.
I mean, it's cool.
I guess I'm focusing more on what actually is there in the movie. But this all does sound very fun. And I would like to see all of this.
I mean, there's also like, I'd love to
Can someone
see-
get in touch with Universal and talk about making a TV show for Tim and Lex Murphy, Dinosaur Hunters?
Well, I'd love
I
to
mean,
see
we already
also
had
like
Cadillacs and Dinos, which is about as close as we're going to get.
there are
Yeah.
more implications with it too, because you have like this is spoilers for the newest Jurassic World.
Which I have
Who
not seen.
cares?
Do you care?
I mean,
It's
not
a piece
really.
of garbage.
Okay, I liked it.
Of course he did.
Anywho,
Carter likes everything.
Maybe I'll go see it someday.
Wait, you said this yourself.
I'm
I
waiting
do like
for
a lot of things.
I'm waiting for HBO, but I know
Doesn't
it's-
mean my. You just had some venom
Don't-
in that tone.
Don't spoil any major character deaths or anything like that.
No. This isn't anything. Well, we find out that a character in Jurassic World Part 2, or Fallen Kingdom, is a clone. And so it's like that technology of like it can be used to like clone people and like stuff like that.
Who's a? I'm so do not
Don't
spoil
worry
it.
about it. But
So stupid.
it's okay. But it's just like that.
I know it's okay. It's just really,
like
really
the-
stupid. I'm sorry. Go.
It's just
go
like
on.
the potential of that. Like you start cloning people. Anytime you have like a cloning or a face swapping, you have the potential to like swap out body doubles, like stuff like that. Clone armies. We've seen how that works.
All right, you're a little too far gone now.
I don't think this is too far gone. This is
I-
all entirely possible.
Well,
Except
not
you
with
said
it-
we're,
not
except
with
you
what
said
you're
we're
given.
you said earlier we're disregarding the sequels, and this clone armies would come out of the sequel.
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying it's something that is definitely a possibility with this genetic technology.
And I think you're,
I'm
just saying,
not
as
looking
when I
for
say-
a
when I say
totally
disregard the
legal way
sequels-
to watch this movie so I can understand. What
When
you're
I say
talking about.
disregard the sequels, I don't mean disregard what happens in. I just mean like disregard. We don't have to keep to their strict mythology. Like
And we're
our
not-
ideas don't have to play to
Right.
their canon.
And we don't have to worry about characters
Yeah.
from the newer ones.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that anything that they established isn't usable in this case.
The things I wouldn't say, I wouldn't
it's
say
like-
that the
it's
Lost World is
except
a point for Jurassic Park.
No,
But
no.
the logic established in those
Yeah.
things
Except-
that
except-
stem
Or
from
like
the
the
original.
fact that there's a Site B. Like they never mentioned Site B in the first Jurassic Park, but there is one, as we know.
That does exist in that
does
world.
exist in that world.
Yeah, I
and
know,
so
but
we
I-
could talk about something at Site B.
yeah, I guess. But I feel like going from Jurassic Park all the way to the newest one and using the stuff from that, I feel like that's a little.
It's the same thing. It's just something, and it's something that even Hammond talks about, where Hammond talks about, You know, he could have used this for condors if he had made another species. He could have
condors,
made another thing.
not humans.
Well, the principle still applies. We just know it's possible.
What? I don't know.
You're thinking about this too hard. Too black and white.
I'm leaning towards
I guess so.
what Carter's saying.
You're thinking about this way too black and white. It can be anything.
What we have here is, I mean, it's
whatever.
Yeah.
You can disregard it in your judging if you would like to.
Yeah.
I see where Carter's coming at. I see what you're saying with rules-wise.
All right. Do LA Confidential next?
La Confidential?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only one with this one I can really think of is like when we made the joke in the last episode about Bud White becoming Russell Crowe in The Nice Guys. I would like to see that middle chapter of how he goes from being Bud White to becoming the main character in The Nice Guys.
We could get a Gotham-style show with Preston Exley, legendary LAPD detective, and his young son, Edmund Ed Exley, who does grow up to be, of course, be Guy Pearce's character from. So we could watch. Yeah. We could watch the career and watch what he does and the crimes that like Ed is exposed to just tangentially or
like see the actual Roland Tomasi event happen.
Mm-hmm. And watch Ed Exley grow up to be Ed Exley.
Yeah. And then you could also get like a maybe not the superhero aspect of Daredevil, but more of like the organized crime part of Daredevil of seeing Dudley Smith take down Mickey Cohen and then trying to grab power.
You could get sorry.
I was just gonna say I'd really like to see that organized crime drama with the police captain going double crossing everybody and being full on corrupt and all that, because I feel like that'd be really good. And then also how Kevin Spacey meets
Sid Hutchins.
Yeah, Sid Hutchins, and how that relationship comes to be.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I want a kind of a procedural or a crime of the week or serial killer of the week kind of thing, but all from the lens of Sid Hutchins and Hush Hush magazine.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be really cool.
And so it's because I think some of the better parts of that movie are when you have the Danny DeVito narration talking about crime in the city and stuff like that. So if you got everything, even Veronica Mars style, but just your lens for viewing it instead of being a private eye would be Hush Hush magazine. So
the only thing I will say about these is these are all very similar to what the movie already was.
I agree.
And so I think that this world perhaps doesn't lend itself to as many different ideas, because whatever we do, whether it be the prequel series following Preston Exley, that's going to be him, ultimately hunting down, his partner.
Yeah.
Or
when your movie is
coworker.
About crime in Los Angeles, it's hard to make something in that same universe about anything other than crime in Los
Angeles. But I do like the Danny DeVito idea a lot.
That would just be a fun way to frame it.
I think that would be a fun.
And also, I love Danny
device.
DeVito, and we'll watch him in just about anything.
So how exactly is so the crime movie, this extra stuff is crime based? Why it seems like that's getting a little more knock than Bull Durham, where this baseball movie and the other stuff is about baseball.
Well,
because you seem to be coming down a little harder on LA Confidential.
Well, I would say because we have
help me
stuff
understand your thought process a little more.
We have the idea of Crash and an eventual son that does not have to be baseball based.
That's different. Anything with Duke doing his thing, if that's more of a farcical or Nuke, if that's more of a farcical comedy, that's different. The only thing that would be similar to Bull Durham would be the prequel. But whereas with LA Confidential, pretty much everything we've talked about's been it would be similar in tone and in story to the actual movie itself.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, where it's going to be about crime.
It's going to be about crime in LA and corruption. And the President Exley one would be perhaps the most depressing, because it would be him probably trying to hunt down whoever is doing all this corrupt work, ultimately only to be killed by his partner or his... Was Edmund or was James Cromwell's character? Was he?
He was at least a fellow.
He was
officer.
at least a fellow officer with him. They knew each other.
Yes.
And so it's like that would be really depressing that ultimately his search ends with his own death.
Well, that would be the thing that I think I'd find most interesting about it. Similar to like what I think Gotham kind of botched with how many times they've tricked you about who's going to be the Joker and stuff, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They could pull something off where you're like, we know not to trust who we shouldn't trust, or even seeing people we know we eventually won't trust because of LA Confidential.
Yeah, and it could
be corrupted into.
And it could also be like a real like Hannibal situation where like you see what's going on and all that, and like you know ultimately how it's going to end, but you still want to see the journey.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a little more interesting than you're giving it credit for.
No, it's definitely interesting. Like I would definitely watch all this stuff.
It's just the way you're saying it, you're just kind of like, this seems boring.
No, it's not
it's
that
not
it's boring. The
it's
knock is just that you don't have as many different.
You don't have as many places to go.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. We have to have some kind of metric for this.
No, it's something to think about for
It's
sure.
something to think about.
I think there's a wealth of extended material you could make from this movie.
Yeah.
The question is, how does it stack up to
the other ones?
all the the millions of different directions you can take Akira,
or Jurassic Park or something like that.
But yeah, my favorite would definitely be the prequel series with Preston Exley or the tabloid magazine Danny DeVito.
Because even that one wouldn't necessarily have to be mysteries as much as it is just like Star.
Yeah.
Like, something with the stars or tabloid news.
Something like that. I mean, you could have literally anything there.
Yeah.
But it would all kind of have,
Yeah. It would all be very kind of dark and have an edge. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing about LA Confidential I thought was interesting.
It's very seedy.
It's
the
very
whole movie
seedy.
is seedy.
Well, the whole movie, if the movie like presents itself as this kind of like polished noir, but when it starts, it's very much like, oh no, this is gross.
Oh, well, I mean, even like the way it looks, like compared, like it's shot on film stock that was outdated for the time it was shot. Like
Yeah.
It looks seedy.
Yeah.
And I know that because I just, compiled all that footage to do the release or announcement videos for it. And that movie looks seedy. And it's in the same quality as the Scott Pilgrim stuff we grabbed. Like, it's all 1080p. It's just, it looks gross.
Speaking of Scott Pilgrim, that's our final film.
Well, and because of that, it's gone.
Oh. End of the episode. Goodbye, Scott Pilgrim.
Oh no.
No, let's talk about Scott Pilgrim.
Let's talk about Scott Pilgrim. Where do we go?
I would
would
like
to
Scott
see...
Pilgrim had a perfect little life, so there's nothing really to talk about beforehand.
Well, the thing with Scott is I'm like, I don't want to see any more of Scott. I don't want to see Scott after this. I don't want to see anything of Scott leading up to this. I know who Scott was. I know what life he led. I don't need any.
You don't want a high school romance between Scott and Kim?
I don't need any kind of origin on Scott. I would want to see maybe more from Ramona's past. I think not necessarily every evil ex, but like maybe the stuff with her.
Because we don't need as much as we gushed about Matthew Patel last episode. We don't need a Matthew Patel movie. But that's 2 weeks.
They talk about her relationship with what's the bad guy's name?
Gideon.
Yeah, Gideon. They talk about her relationship with him, and that one perhaps being the most complex. And so, like, maybe a prequel kind of with that. All of her adult relationships.
I want an Empire-style show with G-Man records.
Or just a whole Envy show. And, what's Envy...
Well, then you get some Scott, don't you?
you get some Scott in there, but it happens concurrently.
Yeah.
And, you would get... it could start with Envy and Scott together, and then, by the end of the first act, they're broken up, and she's got a record deal.
Right.
And so the whole movie's really about Envy, because Envy ultimately because it's from Scott's perspective, Envy's portrayed as not a very savory individual, but she's living her best life. She got a record deal, she's going to bigger and better places than Scott. Go her, and we need a movie that kind of portrays that. I think.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd watch
Except,
that.
but she is also not entirely savory, so it would also that would give her an extra layer, because she did cheat on Scott and did totally destroy him, and is part of the reason why he is the way he is, and so that would also be really interesting to see how she is just kind of nah, I'm doing this, I don't care. I also would like to see Jason Schwartzman getting creating the League and finding them and
See him in a real dark place.
And have like some anime style, like he tracks them down, and like
That would be cool. if
and,
it was
and like
an
he
anime.
has to like battle them to have them join the league or something. He's like, I'm not your enemy, like you are the enemy of my enemy or something. Like
That'd be cool, like-
we shall cut down the flowers.
That'd be a cool like.
before it can bloom, or
Not necessarily
something.
a movie, but like a vignette kind of thing. Where
Like,
he has one,
like-
and they're like,
oh, yeah,
like,
like-
like
like-
animated, like you were saying, like anime. If they did like an anime vignettes,
Like not to bring up a movie that's already been voted off, but the Orenishi
little bit,
sequence
yeah.
from
Yeah.
Kill
kind of
Bill.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And you were saying like we don't need a whole movie about Matthew Patel. It's like no, but like I would love to see just like a 5-minute like
Matthew Patel's journey, finding those demon hipster chicks.
like no, it's just like a 5-minute animated vignette of like him and Ramona's relationship. Where he's just kind of like, oh, these jocks. He's like, oh, these jocks. Like, hey, let's team up. Let's beat him up. They beat
And
him.
you get a little taste of that
They
in
beat
some of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a little bit. They beat him up. Then they kiss. And she's like, no, I don't like you anymore. And leaves. He's just like, what? And then it ends. Like you don't need to have a whole movie for like each ex, but yeah, like a series of like vignettes or like a mini series or something. I feel like
the other thing that would also be interesting to see is we don't really know if Scott goes back to the band once he's like at the end with Ramona or like what.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does either.
He dubs young Neil.
He dubs young Neil.
So,
So I'd love to see where the band goes,
Yeah.
where Sex Bomb goes, and like more Battle of the Bands and like
A Spinal Tap style documentary.
this is Sex Bomb.
this is Sex
It
Bomb.
would just be called We Are Sex Bomb.
We are Sex
Okay.
Bomb.
And then
that'd be cool.
There wouldn't just be one. There'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. We Are Sex Bomb movies.
But what I really want to see, what happened to Negascott? They said they were going to get brunch next week.
They do get brunch.
But we don't see that happen. I want to see. I want to see Negascott
Get stood up for brunch.
Get stood up for brunch, and then be the small fish in the big pond trying to make it in the city. Or just
And
being
no
like,
one understands him because he's the nega version of a guy they don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I was just willed into existence. Now I'm here. I just want to see that. Like, oh shoot,
He
I wouldn't
steals
mind-
Julie from Steven, though.
What would be cool is like if we get like that would be. I'm envisioning just the brunch scene of like Negascott, or even like not even necessarily getting stood up, just like Negascott and Scott just having brunch
Yeah,
together.
like, that too
And
would
it's like,
also be
but that would
great.
totally be like the hidden scene on the special features
Does-
DVD. Like you click
like the post credit.
you go
scene
over
or
to something. It's
Yeah.
just the two of them eating brunch for like 5 minutes. I would totally watch that.
Like,
So-
it would be like the shawarma scene.
If Nega Scott is the opposite of Scott, does he drink Pepsi Max?
I don't know. I couldn't
If
tell
Scott
you.
drinks Coke Zero, does Nega Scott drink Pepsi Max?
Because he's not necessarily his polar opposite. Because they get along, and he says we have a lot in common. If he was, if he
They
was
both play bass.
We actually have a lot in
in
common.
common, he's actually a really nice guy. He's just a big sweetheart.
You're right. They're getting brunch next week.
Yeah, they're getting brunch next week.
Does anyone else have anything to say about Scott Pilgrim?
I mean,
I just want to see all the. I just want to see all this.
a mockumentary with everyone's Nega.
Oh.
So just like an office style mockumentary with just like everyone's Nega version, just doing their thing.
Or a mockumentary with the League of Evil Exes.
That's what they do when they are fighting.
The ones that survived.
Or just like before and after, just all sitting around and be like, yeah, so we got this new chick in here. Her name is Roxy. I don't like her. I'm sick of this
like a
Lucas Lee
Big
guy.
brother.
Yeah, like
7
big,
evil
like-
exes.
I'm sick of this
So-
Lucas
so-
Lee.
Yeah, just I feel like that could be fun.
What a jerk. And Brandon's just there. He's like, I'm in a band.
I'm a vegan.
I'm vegan. With a plate of chicken parmesan and gelato.
See him at the Vegan Academy. See him get his 3 strikes. Get a quick spin-off about the vegan police.
Gelato's not vegan?
Tracking milk and eggs, bitch.
Yeah, just
The vegan police tracking down. Yeah,
a cop comedy,
police
a buddy cop,
procedural
buddy
about
cop,
the vegan police.
just a buddy cop comedy of the vegan police tracking down Brandon Round.
I just want. Do you
And
guys
all
know
the other
the?
vegan.
Do you guys know the sabotage video, the Beastie Boys sabotage video, where they're dressed as cops and jumping over cars, like Columbo Magnum PI style?
'Cause
I
that'd
want
be-
that with the vegan police.
That would be what? It'd be a buddy cop with Will Forte, and who plays the other cop?
After this, we'll show you the sabotage video. You'll see what, because it's ridiculous.
A Brooklyn Nine, no, maybe not a Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing, but
It just needs to be a buddy cop. Just
Yeah,
the two of
just-
them going and hunting down vegans.
yeah.
Just trying to remember who the other cop is. I know it's Will Forte and somebody else.
The tragic rise and fall of Crash and the Boys.
I I am so
They
sad.
finally
so
make
very,
it
very
only
sad.
to get
I'm
incinerated.
so sad. So very, very sad.
Also, what happens to Knives? I wouldn't mind seeing a little slice of life of
Who knows?
Knives trying to move on, or like if she's
Just
still
meeting a
dating
nice
Neo or
Catholic boy.
something.
At Catholic school?
Maybe just like a 30-minute like a wrap-up episode of like Ciao Knives. That's what it's called.
Ciao.
But yeah, there's a whole lot to work with. All of it sounds really good.
Yeah, there's that. Once again, like I said with Akira, the
Oh no, it's Thomas Jane and Clifton Collins Jr.
not Will Forte,
No, no, it's not. Oh no, it's definitely not. I was looking at a picture
but
right now.
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, no,
the
it's Thomas.
vegan police. It's too good.
Yeah, Thomas Jane and Clifton
Yeah.
Collins Jr.
yeah.
No, definitely would watch that.
But like
Chicken is
with Akira,
vegan.
there's a lot to be able to. You could even do more spin-off comic books or
Oh yeah.
like
So.
a whole other video game. Like also, I like the Scott Pilgrim video game, the beat 'em up.
I've never played it.
It's a lot of fun.
I've heard.
Well, have we come to that time?
I think so.
I think so.
Yes.
We cannot have, a podcast without
Winners and losers.
winners and losers. So
Carter, you want to kick us off?
I'll kick us off. My winner this week is shoot. It's difficult because they're all so good. But honestly, this is gonna be. It's Akira, and that's honestly what it really is. Is I really want to see that Fast and Furious, or the
Two
Kanade
Tetsuo.
Kanade coming up, learning how to ride the bike. Who does he have a mentor? Does he teach
Making the
himself?
bike.
Where do they get the bike? Because that's everything I wanted Akira to be, which I love what it is, but that's what I wanted it to be, and I would just love to see that.
For sure.
So that's my winner this week.
I am also going to say Akira, not because I like the Fast and Furious style idea. I liked my Continental Hotel thing with the bar and
biker bar.
the bartender, and the dog piss he serves, So I think there's a wealth of stuff to go with beforehand, even if you get into Akira's actual story and stuff like that. Even though you get a little bits of it, you don't quite get the whole thing. And there's a lot to. I don't think that story's done. I think there's always going to be room to make more of it.
Right. My winner this week is going to be Scott Pilgrim versus the World, just because there's so many different characters and there's so many
Sensing
different.
a pattern from our last episode.
But there's
Two
just
for
there's
Akira, one for Scott.
there's so much to work with, and there's so many different stories that can be told, and I just really want to see how Gideon gets the League together and convinces all these people that all have this, for some reason, deathly hatred of Ramona. And just how he convinces them to be like, okay, she's going to date a guy, and we're going to kill him. And then she'll date one of us? No. You're just going to kill the guy.
And then she'll
Okay, yeah,
date me.
Or something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that. How he, Oh, wait, no, yeah, you did mention that. Sorry, my bad.
What?
Seeing the chip, getting implanted in Ramona and, that whole relationship, sorry. But, yeah, I'd like to see how that all comes together, what happens to Sex Bob-omb, what happens to Nega Scott. Poor Nega Scott, lost in the big city all alone.
Yeah.
I love that we just assume that Scott is a horrible enough person to stand up his own.
No,
negative-
after they get brunch.
Yeah.
Oh, after they brunch is nice, but then everything's
they get brunch. He's like, all right, we should hang out sometime. Yeah, we should, but they never do.
they don't exchange numbers.
Exactly. It just slips their mind.
I just imagine Scott later oh, I didn't get his number.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Yeah.
Middle of the conversation.
All we can.
This is
Boring.
I'm just glad that we can all agree that we don't need to see more of Scott Pilgrim.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing
I wouldn't mean seeing bits and pieces, but I don't want to see a full-on Scott Pilgrim.
Maybe not. Just the couple years of high
Yeah.
school, where, he meets Kim, dates Kim, meets Envy, breaks up with Envy. I'd like to see that as why he is such a terrible person, but
I'd like for him to be the background character in someone else's story.
like you said with the Envy thing,
like how Envy was in this movie.
Well, I would like to even see
and also from the sex Bob-omb's perspective, how
Yeah.
Steven Still's talking to young Neil and Kim, okay, we're gonna do this, and Scott's just in the background, being terrible. So, but yeah, see, even though we finished talking about it, we found more to talk about, and so like there's just so much in this.
Yeah. I will admit that was my second choice. Though.
Yeah, so Scott Pilgrim's gonna be my winner this week. Okay. Not for the hard part.
So with every winner, there must also be a loser. This week, I'm going back and forth. I narrowed it down in my head between one Bull Durham and one LA Confidential. Because Brett did bring up a good point that they both kind of have that they're similar, but I go back to what we said in response to that Bull Durham does have a little bit more room to be different. And I think LA Confidential does not. I think no matter how you frame it or you do it, it can all be entertaining and interesting, and it's something I would want to see. But I think compared to all these other ones that have so many different diverse ideas of like things you can go and do, places you can go that'll be different in tone or different style or different in, whatever it's about, I think LA Confidential perhaps just has too much of like, oh, it'll be cops in LA solving crimes, fighting corruption. So I'm going to have to vote off LA Confidential this week.
You summed it up perfectly for me. I was down to those two as well. I think that both of these are fantastic character pieces, and I want to see more of these characters.
Like I said, honestly, the movie, now that we talked about it last week, the movie I want to see is the Russell Crowe becoming his character in The Nice Guys. I really want that, because I love the idea that these characters could be the same person.
It'd be fun.
Have I told you my... Sorry, but have I told you my James Caan fan theory? Mm-hmm. All right, I'll tell you that after. Okay. Or I might tell at the end of this episode.
Well, but yeah, I'm voting off LA Confidential, because as much as some of these ideas were fun, I really, there's a wealth of things to do. And there's a wealth of things to do in all of these, because I want to know, in every single one of these movies, there's something with at least one or two characters that I want, I'd read volumes of books on their backstories, on what they do afterwards, and watch, millions of movies. But LA Confidential, it's gonna, it would get very similar very, very quickly. In doing that, and while I wouldn't hate it, I do have to choose a loser. So
it's one of those things where it's compared to everything else.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
So that's my vote there.
Yeah. For a hot second, I was thinking Jurassic Park, because I was like, I don't want to see Mad Max with dinosaurs. But I was like, that doesn't mean that they couldn't also do the stuff that I thought about. So I was like, Brett, you're being dumb, per the norm. But anyway. My vote is also...
Did you want one of us to cheer you up there and be like, no, Brett, you're not dumb?
No, it's fine, I know. Okay. Everybody listening to this knows I'm dumb. You guys have done this with me for 2 seasons. You know how dumb I am.
This is Brett who admitted a couple of weeks ago that he thought that Star Trek Beyond, for some reason, would be like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I explained myself. I'm dumb.
So I'm not going to disagree on his weird considerations of movies.
Well, there you go. Give your vote.
I'm not going to call him dumb, though. He's quite intelligent.
No, I'm pretty dumb. But, my vote's going to ultimately be for LA Confidential as well. Because, because Bull Durham, while they would be baseball themed, they would also be different enough. Because, the rise and fall of Crash, that would be heartbreaking. But, seeing, Dudley Smith and Preston Exley doing their whole Hannibal cat and mouse kind of thing, that would be cool. That has also kind of been done before, and that's also kind of what the movie was. And so while I still would like to see that LA Confidential stuff, everything else we talked about, I'd like to see more, like we said.
Yeah. And
not happy about it, but yeah.
The thing that summed it up for me was when you said that Nuke being in having his own series would be like Major League the series, and I would never put Major League in the same double feature with Bull Durham. They're two baseball movies, but they're two very different.
That's why it would be a great double feature.
Two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. I'm dumb.
Brett's dumb, and now it's time for us to make our recommendations and our sign-offs.
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at CASpilliards, spill something in your yard and add an S. This week, I will be recommending... Have I done Forbidden Planet yet?
You have not done Forbidden Planet.
I'm going to be recommending Forbidden Planet, 1954. One of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies I have ever watched in my life. Stars Leslie Nielsen, actually, before Airplane, when he was still a dramatic actor. But I quite enjoyed it. It's extremely influential. It pretty much influenced everything that Star Trek was, a lot of what Star Wars was aesthetically and kind of in story and ideas. And it's just very good. So if you love any kind of sci-fi made after the year 1954, it owes, at least in some small part, something to Forbidden Planet, because everyone kind of stole a little bit of something from it. So please go and watch it. It is excellent.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. I am Robbie DeShazer. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Robbie_DeShazer. While you're listening to this, I'm not with these guys right now. I'm in Orlando, Florida, doing some live video on Instagram. Go check me out there. Orlando. But if you don't want to do that, you should check out 1996's Waiting for Guffman. If you like Best in Show, if you like This is Spinal Tap, it's so funny. I don't want to tell you too much about it because it's just an experience to watch it unfold. But if you like that whole crew of people, Christopher Guest, Eugene Levy, so many, of those familiar faces are in it.
Good people.
Very good people.
Funny people.
Funny people.
Funny people. I love Christopher Guest.
You're recommending funny people with
Adam Sandler?
No, I'm recommending.
It's not awful.
That's next week's episode, Brett. You're getting ahead of yourself. But no, I'm recommending Waiting for Guffman.
Yes.
So check it out.
Okay. You find me on Twitter and Snapchat at BrettJHNSN1. I'm going to be getting back to posting reviews of movies. I'm going to be getting back to that. Yeah, I'm going to be getting back to that. And so it'll be thumbs up, thumbs down. Recommend movies you want me to watch and review so you can argue with me and be like, Brett, you're dumb.
Don't tell Brett he's dumb. He's very smart.
He's very smart.
Or at least tell me what, whatever. Intelligent conversation, constructive criticism, what have you. My recommendation this week is going to be the 1997 animated Japanese psychological thriller Perfect Blue, which I don't know how I didn't realize this earlier, but it was directed by the same guy that directed Paprika, which I recommended last week. But this movie is wild. It's about this Japanese pop idol who decides to take a career into acting, and she starts getting these like death threats from some stalker, and everything starts taking a toll on her, and she can't tell like what's real, what's not real, what's fantasy, what's reality, and it's wild. It's so good.
All right. Well, those are our recommendations. Those are our sign-offs. That's going to do it for this episode of Film Fracas. Tune in again next week when we're going to do another challenge. I guess we know what the challenge is going to be, right? At this point,
Yeah, but
we'll have
we're
our
not
final
gonna
four. We're not going to tell them.
You probably guess from the last two
Seasons.
seasons when we do our final four what the challenge will be, but
Hey.
you'll have to wait and see. Tweet at us if you have an idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other than that,
also-
tweet at us movies for next season since we're already
Yes.
getting real close to
Suggestions for next season. Also suggest
Themes?
themes, categories that you'd like us to debate, that kind of stuff. Let us know what you want to hear.
Also, we have merchandise on the internet.
Merch, baby.
And some of those things will be getting updated soon with our new co-host space on it once we announce that and have a new logo and
Unveil
stuff.
that.
So get your merch now, so it's
Yeah,
vintage.
this will be
limited edition.
limited edition merch
edition
very, very
very
soon. That's cool.
Will you change the color?
We might.
Oh.
I will be talking to Isabel Sori, who did our graphic design for that. Also, shout out to her. At what is her? I'm gonna look up her handle on Instagram real quick, so you guys can go check her out and support her because she did such a nice job
I
with that.
love our logo.
Our logo
It's
is
nice.
It makes me happy every time I see it. So,
So professional.
graphics by Belle, I believe, on Instagram. graphics_by_Belle. Go check that out. She's fantastic. A good friend of mine. And use our Amazon affiliate link if you want to give us some money
please.
too. Yeah, seriously, anytime you don't have to buy the thing it links you to.
We can get back to that. Get back to that sweet studio time.
Studio time.
Okay, let's.
But
Yeah, that's going to do it for us here at Film Fracas. Thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Film Fracas. We know there's a lot of shows on the web, and we're so glad you took the time to listen to ours. Thank you to Robbie, the main man to Shazer, and Carter, the whole effing show Spilliards, for writing and producing each episode. Please consider giving us a 5-star rating wherever you listen. It really does help get the word out. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Film Fracas. Once again, thanks for listening, and we can't wait for you to hear our next episode.